I'm a dude, and I'm inviting you to join me on a podcast about brews.
Does that include stouts?
Yes, of course it includes stouts. Like I was saying, join us every Saturday on the journey into...
Wait a minute. Do you guys do anything about like IPAs?
Yes,
Stuff like that?
yes, we do IPAs.
Okay.
Yes. Anyway, join us on the Journey into Comics Network for Brews with Dudes.
Whoa, hey, have you guys ever... Do you care if I bring some Zima on?
Yes, I care if you bring Zima. Zima doesn't count. Zima's... Dr. Dongo. Anyway, join us every Saturday for a podcast that delves into the craft brew world.
The following
Journey into Comics.
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 Network.
production.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 10 of Crucial Tunes.
10.
I'm your host, Chris, and with me is my other host. I don't know if I should say co-host or...
Yes, because I'm as equal as you, motherfucker.
Well, does co-host imply that I'm like the lead and you're the follow, or is co is just with?
Here's
right?
My opinion is when Larry does an intro, he officially gets the co-host. He has to intro a show because that means he's confident enough to, like, you're still a co-host. I'm just using my laws, what I did to Brando. I'm being facetious.
Well,
with Chris.
with us, you can hear as our friends Nate, Sarah, and Veronica from the band Walk Among Us and other shows on the Journey into Comics Network. Would you guys like to say hey?
It's us.
We're on this. I'm actually on the show for the second week in a row. As strange as that sounds.
Actually, Nate. If you guys listened in last week or 2 weeks ago, by the time this comes out, Nate actually did us a solid and recorded an episode for us because my studio is all torn up right now. So we're actually recording.
Basement is filled with water.
Yeah, we're actually recording at Nate's house right now.
It's like an aquarium.
That's not quite that much, but it's
still
yeah, dude, it sucks. It sucks.
That's the pitfalls of living where we live.
Yeah, and it's also just home ownership too. It's the joys of home ownership. But oh well, we're not here to talk about my basement. We're not here to talk about water damage in basements, unless you guys want to. I mean, we can do that if you want.
Podcast.
Different podcast. So Walk Among Us is Northwest Indiana's, and really, as far as I know, anywhere's premier piano-driven Misfits tribute band or cover band. What do you guys consider yourselves?
Nice. Ooh, good opener. Nobody asks right off the top. That's nice. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Is there like what's like the big difference between a tribute band and a cover band?
You want my opinion?
That's what I asked for.
So tribute, okay. I think we blur the lines between the two things because tribute implies that you dress like the band, try to sound like the band. You put on shows like that band would have put on shows.
Take on the persona.
And then cover band is more of a, you play all genres. You can play a 4-hour set at any bar and
I gotcha.
Any place around.
You play a gig.
Yeah.
Right.
I feel like the difference between it for me is if you're in a cover band, you have gigs. And if you're in a tribute band, then you perform shows. You know? That's how
Okay.
I think of it. And that's why we came up with the little tagline, the world's only punk rock piano tribute to the Misfits.
Yeah, I've never heard anybody do it the way you guys do it. And when I first heard about you guys, I was super excited to see what it was all about.
Yeah, that's very true.
Because it was like, who does that? You know, who does punk with all piano? And it comes out.
do.
Piano players.
Comes out really cool. So why don't you tell us a little bit about like how you came up with this idea and where it came from? Obviously, you guys are big Misfits fans, or else this probably wouldn't have happened, right?
Fucking hate the Misfits.
Well,
Fuck
yeah.
that band.
I'll say
true.
that. Well, I mean, we did all like that band, but that was only a small part of it. For me, see, because your original question was about the tribute versus the cover band. I feel like that's two ends of a spectrum, and people lie in between. All the, just like any sort of like art, I guess you could say. There's always variations of things, but for me, I'm a piano player, and I was in a cover band. I was in several, like 3 different cover bands, lots of different ones, playing lots of different kind of music, and people trying to make me into a keyboard player, sitting there playing little pad sounds and synth sounds and little wee-oo, and all of that business, which there's nothing wrong with that, but that's not me. That's not my...
You're a piano player.
That's not me. Yes, I'm a piano player. So for me, it was like natural. And I went to school to be a composer, actually. Okay. So I have a very large music theory background. And I'm an arranger. I've been arranging songs for students for like over a decade, a long time.
Oh, wow.
And I have been just dabbling in arranging. There's nothing good in the piano world. There's nothing like good to play when you consider things that are on the radio. It's all these weird, watered down, not in the same key. Oh, it kind of sounds like the song, like nobody's trying. They're all trying to make a buck because the piano is like, it's not the staple anymore. You know, you used to see pianos everywhere.
That's also an interesting point too, is anytime you see a band that's got a keyboard on stage, they're not playing piano. They're playing keys. They're playing synth, and it's very interesting to hear, and not just one piano, but 2 pianos on your stage,
different purposes,
playing punk. Yeah, and it's a very cool sound, and I was very excited when we actually got the opportunity to play at your first show. Was when I think we've talked about this on other podcasts.
We were so green and little. We
opened for the Ataris at Big Shots in Valparaiso.
Terrified.
Yeah,
we were really brave to do that show.
Yeah, we opened for the Ataris.
Do you remember? I feel like we always talk about this. I think we even talked about this. It was fun, but I just remember the Ataris getting there, and they thought only 2 acts were going for them, and there was like, fucking 9-band special.
We talked about Elton a few weeks ago in our episode, and laid into him a little bit. That was an Elton booking, which was why it was against the Ataris contract.
And then he didn't even run the show. Ed ended up running it, which
Elton book. Yeah,
that was an interesting show.
We don't need to get any more into the Elton thing, but
everyone knows that he is a cock ring.
Well, I'm learning new things every day.
But since that first show, your first show, which was that was coming up on 2-3 years ago.
3 years.
Wow, man,
August 26th.
Time flies.
That show was 3 years ago. Fucking hell.
So
it's weird.
Since then,
it's cool.
I've if you guys. If anybody follows Walk Among Us on Facebook, which you absolutely should, Facebook. What other social media are you guys on? We can do the plugs later, but just
we're on Facebook, Instagram.
You guys
YouTube.
do it all.
Yeah, I don't think we have like LinkedIn or some shit. I don't know.
You guys have not stopped since that moment, and I'm super impressed every time I see you guys announcing more shows and more. There's always a flyer with your name on it, and it's so impressive that you guys are workhorses, man. I tip my hat to you because I've never seen anybody as dedicated as that, and it's incredible.
It's for the love. Yeah. I don't do it because I want to some days.
Well,
that's a labor of love for sure.
Because
I get that. I definitely get that.
Yeah.
I don't know. We got on the train and we started doing all the songs, and then it's like, whew, you have to keep it, ready to go. I have to practice all the time.
Keep it fresh.
All the time,
Yeah.
And then I think of our early videos that we made, and I'm like, man, I can play it better now. I could do it better a year later than we did at the beginning.
That's why I keep telling Sarah, I was like, I can't wait till we're in our 50s. We're going to be fucking queens.
Yeah.
I'll be my
Locked
best
in.
me.
I better have written my symphony by then.
Yeah,
That's
no shit.
happening.
So, I'm sorry. I feel like I'm hogging. You want to ask?
Are there any Misfit songs you want to do but haven't done?
No.
Any? Oh,
We've actually played every single Danzig era Misfits song live on stage.
yeah,
All
54.
54.
All of them.
Yeah.
We've played them all.
Jesus, I don't even.
Sometimes we book shows
heard
where
54 songs in my life.
No, you guys
Same.
don't do just Danzig, right? You also do
Michael Graves.
you do
No.
Graves era.
just
Not
Danzig.
anymore.
No,
You did.
You cut Graves
Did.
out. You did. Though,
It
right?
was an
the
interesting
beginning.
experiment
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
everybody's had the argument for so long. Do these things fit together? Are they the same?
Yeah.
Are they? Now, when you boil them down to music theory, they're not the same.
They're not the same.
There's some things that you can tell where things have been borrowed, but you always have to look at that Danzig era catalog. I mean, that's the Misfits, and then the rest of it is like offshoot bands. I still believe that when Michael Graves entered the scene, they should have just left the Misfits name alone.
Yeah, they should have just
If
called
they would
it
have had a different
Jerry
band
Only's
name-
Misfits.
Yeah.
No, it would have just been a different, kind of like Doyle's doing Doyle, and
Right.
they do
Yeah.
like. I think it would have been better for them.
But musically,
I think
like
that
she
hurt
said,
them.
it is
But-
different, and it didn't translate to piano the way we wanted to be playing these songs.
Okay.
Yeah, it didn't do
same
the
as the
same
Danzig.
thing.
It didn't do
There
the same
wasn't
thing, right.
quite as much variation in the material. Once we start, like you played 3 of them, and they were literally all the same, like texturally. And when you reduce it down to a piano, you only have the piano sound. It's like
Right.
it's like making a black and white sketch. You only have so many gradations and things that you're doing. So you play with texture a lot when you're reducing it down like that. And of course, I have her to have the fuzzy, the keyboard texture, and Nate's doing the drums, so there's texture there. But when you're talking about on a piano, I mean, there wasn't as much there. And you look at the Danzig catalog, I mean, that theme for a jackal that just, well, I guess I don't know when this is airing. This just was
2 weeks
recent
ago at
for
this
us.
point. Week ago.
Oh my God. Like there's just so much going on,
Yeah.
and it's totally different from every other Misfits song. And there's some of them like when you look at all of them as like a body of work, like 54 songs, you put them in a book. Like I think about like my piano books, if there was Danzig on the front, Misfits or whatever, and these yellow, classical music covers, and I could open them up and have 54 songs. That's you look at it as a catalog like that, and there's so much variation to work with, even though there's only 3 chords, and a lot of them are power chords. They're empty
Right,
shells.
it's all the textures that you add as a pianist.
Yeah, there's it just was the right material to do it on. You experiment when you're first starting, though. You give it a chance, and I
We had
felt we
played-
should give it a chance.
I mean, we played some shows that we called hybrid sets,
Yeah.
half Danzig, half Graves, and it was like taking the energy out of a room.
It did.
Really?
It was like the
Or
wind. We would feel it
start
happen.
a show with Graves and it'd just be like, okay, we're playing these songs, yay, we can sing them, they sound nice. But then we started playing Danzig, the room would come alive, and it's like, okay, well, what does that tell us?
You
So
read it's important when you're in a band, especially in 2019. I have to say this, where that you read your audience.
Sure.
Everybody these days is so me. This is my statement. This is what I have to say. This blah blah blah, and they forget about the audience. People don't have a lot of reasons to leave their house these days.
True.
You really have to give somebody something that they need or that they are interested in or want to come out to your show, on a Friday or a Saturday night, because there's so much going on, or there's not enough going on, and people are like, I like my sweatpants better, like you have to compete with their sweatpants and their cell phones.
That's a hard
You know?
competition because sweatpants and cell phones are sick.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah, and
I
usually
get it,
music
man.
fans, the harder the music fan, the lazier they generally are. It's just it's like a mathematical equation, So
And it brings up
Yeah,
another point
you
about
gotta-
the cover band versus tribute band, because you can see a dime a dozen cover band anytime you want. But
absolutely.
that's what makes being a tribute band more special, I think.
That's
Yeah.
very true.
yeah,
Yeah, that's a very cool point.
yeah, that's why we lean toward that term, I think, rather than the cover thing. But
So, in the 2.5 going on 3 years that you guys have been gigging around, how many shows, or you refer to them as gigs or shows? What did you
Shows.
say? You do
either
shows. Okay.
I say
Yeah.
either. Same
How
thing to me.
many do you think you've played? Do you have a hard number? Or
I have a
this all-
catalog. Yeah, I
Nate's
catalog.
a numbers
Nate's
guy.
the guy.
Of
Numbers
course,
guy.
Nate has.
It's okay.
the mics
Yeah.
You can
And-
kick the mic stand.
Of
I
course,
get it.
Nate's a
Nate has a
numbers guy.
catalog. There's nothing surprising about it.
So we wanted to know because I mean, curiosity killing the cat, right?
Yep.
And we just got back from Columbus and Dayton, we just played our 57th and 58th show.
Fucking nuts.
So
Good for you guys. That is awesome.
So
Good
by
for
the
you.
time-
I mean,
by
not
the
bad for like a very centralized area where we're playing.
Yeah.
You know,
And our act is weird.
And
it's-
we're weird.
For these days, people don't know
for
what to
Northwest
expect.
Indiana,
For-
it's a little different.
It is
Yeah.
very niche and specific.
Right.
And it's
That's why we've
makes
been
it so
slowly
cool.
branching out, traveling.
Yeah.
We just played like Nate said, we had some gigs in Ohio, and we played in Illinois a lot, and Indianapolis a lot
Yeah.
more. And that's always really fun. We
Yeah.
have a great time in Indy.
Now, how hard is how hard's traveling? How much equipment do you guys have to
Oh
take
my
with
God!
let's talk. You guys want to
Yeah,
field
go-
the
give
question?
us the
Let's say
rundown.
I'm going to say it like this: if there's any wealthy donors out there that
We
have an
need your money.
extended cab truck and or a Ford Transit
Support us.
or a van, something,
What'd you guys?
we
travel with?
have
My Ranger. All three of
we
us.
squeeze like
Three
tiny
people and all your gear in
children.
a Ranger.
Yeah.
We have seatbelts,
Yeah.
but it's rough on
It's
our.
real rough.
We are all in our
Lots of breaks.
30s.
Lots of
Right.
breaks.
Yeah.
Hashtag this is 30.
Yeah, and the cab is
It
filled
is.
to the Tetris brim.
Oh
with
yeah,
our
I'm a
things.
ninja of.
We have an
packing. I
exact.
have
We
to
have
be.
a system for everything to fit
We make it
exactly
work.
right.
It's really
You guys
hard, but we make
got
it work.
road cases for your
Yeah.
pianos and what kind of amps do you travel with?
We don't have amps.
No amps. You just
Just
line
direct
them
ins.
everywhere.
Yeah.
That's cool.
just
Makes
DI
sense.
boxes.
That must be
Yeah,
awesome.
sometimes
really
It makes
easy.
it
That
easy.
Saves
Yeah.
a lot of room, I'm sure.
yeah,
The
room,
biggest
yeah.
thing is my drums, obviously, which
Yeah.
is just the drums
That's
and then
the nature
her
of the
piano.
beast.
But
Yeah.
stacking master, I've been doing this for 16 years. Well, half my life actually this year. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, you know how it is playing shows when you're 16 and learning how to Tetris a truck and
Yep.
having a terrible
Yep.
fucking
Or
time.
Hey,
or
I
take
just want to
more
take
drums.
this. I just want to say something really fast. I remember coming to see Chris's band play in high school.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because we all ran in the same. We went
Yeah.
to the same school. We all ran in the same little cliques and
My
stuff.
band sucked real bad in high school too. So.
it's okay. My band in
So
high
much
school
fun.
sucked.
Best band he's ever
You're
been
supposed
in.
to suck, otherwise,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was in
It's
a
not
terrible
worth doing.
band in high school.
I was in some
won't
pretty
talk about
funny
that.
bands in high school.
What kind of bands you guys played with? Let's hear your background a little bit.
My first band, I was 15, and it was me and my friend Haley and my friend Crystal, and we played one show, and we played a Pixies cover.
Sick.
Gigantic.
Yeah.
And we played Gigantic, and we played the Yeah Yeah Yeahs Maps and some Metric song, I can't remember. And it was so fucking fun. We played the skate park in Lowell.
At the skate
At
park.
the skate park, my ex-boyfriend.
One of
he had,
the 3 shows that the skate park had.
Yeah, it was one
Didn't
of the.
some kid jump off a ramp and break his arm? Or was that a different skate park show?
Oh, not at that show.
'Cause I was
might have
at
been
that
like
show.
one of the first ones.
He was like, I was there.
I remember that shit. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, fuck that guy.
That was funny. Yeah, that was a funny band, and then we never played another show. And yeah, high school bands were funny. I got asked to do vocals in a lot of bands, and then I got asked to do a lot of keys in bands.
Yeah.
And it only lasted like weeks or months, and like
Mm-hmm.
nothing ever came of it, and then drifted apart.
That's high school.
That's high school, man. That was some high school shit. It was
Yeah.
an interesting learning experience as a woman.
How about
Yeah.
you, Sarah?
Oh, well,
Got a list?
my first band, we'll call it a horror punk band.
Okay.
I won't say the name. I ran with some interesting people, but we'll leave out who that is. Anyhow, so I had that band, and it was when I was in high school, and they were my friends, and I loved them. And then I got to college, and I had to be in another band with another group of friends. I was in an indie band, and we recorded one album in my basement. I remember one time the singer decided he wanted to sing into a toilet bowl
Oh,
for effect.
cool.
It was that kind of a band. We're talking,
That kind of a
this would have been like
Take the-
OG
2002,
Did you
okay?
take
Oh, that's like
Take the
cutting
toilet
edge
bowl
kinda
on
shit, though,
stage
for
with
back
you?
then. Like, seriously.
2002.
No one's doing that weird as shit.
This was like 2002. My first band would have been like, I think we started around 99. It would have been like 99 to 2001. I was in that band. And then, 2002, I'm in my indie band, and then I got that kind of dissipated, and I was trying to be in a bunch of other bands. I got a lot of people that would ask me to do things, and then, and I'm not making this up. This is my favorite one. It was like 2 or 3 bands that would ask me to come and sit in, and like one of them was a metal band. They were like, "You play metal," but the guitar player was too worried about, showing off his skills to me, and he had no interest in music at all. He just wanted to sit and wank off in front of me. And okay, that was fine. I drank beers with them, and then I didn't go back for a while. Yeah. And then then there was another band they called themselves a spy rock band. Okay, we have a Yamaha motif. Come play it. We don't know how to use it yet. I live in my parents' basement. Great. So I went there. And then this band told me at the end of the session that I was overqualified.
Overqualified?
Yes, overqualified. So I didn't stay in that band. That lasted all of 2 weeks. And then, at this point, I was in music school. I was going to Columbia downtown at this point to be a composer. So I was busy composing things.
Yeah.
And then I just fell into that for a while. And then I went and did film scoring at the end of college. I learned kind of how to do that. I went to Los Angeles, found out I didn't know if I really wanted to do that after being out there. And
you don't know until you try, right?
Learning the art of it is wonderful. I like that. I really, really, that's a conversation for another band another day. I like to compose to scenery and things like that.
Cool.
So like that type of stuff is good. But it's the politics of it, and it's the way the system works, and I have friends doing it now that fell into the trap that the teachers out there told us you're going to fall into this trap if you do that. Now you're in this trap, Now you're pigeonholed here. So I didn't want to, it wasn't for me. They're having a good time doing it. The people I know that are out there are they're making a go of it. They're doing good. They're doing well for themselves.
Cool.
But it's hard. It's
One
hard
of
to
your
do.
friends did like the score for Sense8 on Netflix.
Yeah,
or
he
some
worked
shit,
on
right?
the music for it. Yeah.
Oh wow,
That's pretty neat.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, it's hard though. It's hard to do. You have to give up a lot artistically to do it because you're at the whim of directors and producers and a lot of people who are not musicians at all telling you, "I want this to be more green. Go redo it." You spent 6 months making it. Okay.
And that's all you can do is like, oh, all right.
Yeah, like whatever that means,
Cool.
It's like...
You want this to audibly be more green? Can you explain anything else?
No, that's the way it feels. You see.
I took that wrong.
That's LA for you.
Yeah,
We went.
it
Sarah
gets
and I
a
went to
little
LA
weird.
last. What was it? Last summer did we went?
Yeah.
Last
Yeah.
summer, Sarah and I
Yeah.
went to LA, and we visited with some people and met some new people, and it was an eye-opening experience for sure. Yeah.
Everybody's networking out there. You're always on.
Oh, sure.
You're at the grocery store, you're on. You're at the coffee
You're
shop,
meeting
you're on.
your sister's neighbors.
You're walking your dogs.
You're
Your
talking
dogs
to
are on.
stand-up comedians
Your dogs
and-
network with other dogs.
Right.
I don't know if you
they
knew
do
that.
for sure.
The gram.
Yeah, they judge other
Do you even gram,
dogs.
Belle?
I mean, it's a huge dog scene out there. I don't know. There's something happening with the dogs.
They all look at like they're.
They need a movie deal, the dogs.
Yeah.
Maybe we get some creativity. I don't know. But that's what I did. And then I met Nate, and he was in his band.
Yeah.
And he can tell you about his band.
So I only had one band
yeah.
before Walk Among Us that was like anything.
And you were not a drummer, right?
No. I started on bass.
Okay.
For this band Draxus that I was just, me and my buddies created and played some shows and were terrible at first, and I think we kind of fell into our own. Right as we started hitting our groove, the band broke up for 2 years, and I was like, fuck, okay.
It's always how it goes.
So then, in 2008, we got back together, but we didn't have a drummer, and my dad is 48 years old, and he's like, fuck it, I'll drum. And I was like, what?
No shit.
So my
That's
dad,
cool.
yeah, okay, so yeah, for real, it's weird as shit. But I got to share the stage with my dad, which is really awesome and strange. But he's like, we just talked about this last night because he's had a lot of medical problems and hasn't been able to drum for a while, but now is drumming again, and he's just about to turn 60 this year. So tells you how long he's been going at it. So he was learning Metallica, Avenged Sevenfold, Pantera, you know, Slayer, Shinedown, anything we could get our hands on, plus our own songs.
Yeah.
And his dedication was insane. I remember he had a heart attack.
Oof.
Okay, and he had a scare like 2 days later, so he wanted to go to the hospital, and they took him by ambulance. he goes and gets this thing called an angiogram. They got to like cut you open. They put dye in your veins and see what your heart's doing.
Christ.
He gets done with them doing that, and he goes, "Can I go home and drum?" And they're like, "You can't play rock band, sir." And he's like, "No, I want to play my fucking drums. Like, I'm a drummer. Can I play my drums?" And they're like, "Well, if you do, you're at risk to tear your scar open where we just cut you open." He called a fucking practice. We lasted 30 minutes, and he tore it open. Had to stop.
Yeah, that's why.
Oh my God.
And his
Don't do that.
That's why you listen to your doctor.
But his dedication, though, just kind of like
That's something else.
it was like
That's
it was
really
regardless.
dedicated.
One of the last shows we did with him, he had pneumonia and played through
I
it.
would have loved to play with a musician that dedicated.
I mean, he's crazy. He plays.
I've never had that.
He literally will go to bed, and he's a guitar player too. First and foremost, that's why I play guitar is because of him. And then it's funny because we flip flopped. I stopped playing guitar to play drums because she asked me. But Draxus went for a long time. We did a lot of different shows. It was a lot of fun. It was really more than anything a cutting my teeth learning experience.
Oh, yeah.
And also learning how not to be in the scene because I was not nice to other people because I thought it was a war.
You weren't doing it right.
And
sure.
Because
I remember.
in Central Illinois, in Central Illinois, the
I
scene
remember.
is so small, anyways.
Yeah.
That if one person talks shit, everybody's talking shit. So you have to kind of stay on top of people's shit talking. It's awful like that.
So I want to say maybe 15 years ago in Northwest Indiana, the scene was real competitive like that too.
I remember that too.
There were cliques of bands that were always really cool with each other, but those cliques did not intermingle very
With
well.
other cliques.
And
Right.
It's just like high school around here.
Once you were out of that clique, you're gone. You're done. And that's what actually one of my bands, we got like excommunicated from the hardcore scene, and like that was it. We didn't play shows anymore.
Ugh.
And but it's not like that anymore around here.
No, and I think it's because
Sad. I will make it happen.
The scene is very supportive nowadays because
true,
there's so
everyone's really
few
cool.
bands now.
There's lots of bands, and they're all really good.
But
dudes.
there's not
And
nearly
chicks.
as many as there were 15 years ago.
True. And
Well, because we all aren't in high school and have time to be in the four bands apiece.
Even high school bands are almost non-existent nowadays. It's like there's
Right.
nowhere to play anymore, so kids just don't do
People
it.
don't understand what music is for.
Yeah.
I'm telling you this because I'm also a teacher, a music teacher, well, not in the schools because I don't want to be. I have plenty of reasons. I'm not going to go down that road. But no, I've been teaching for a really long time. And 10 years ago, students are not the same as the students I have now.
Yeah.
They don't understand the instrument the same way because people, like I referenced earlier, there's not pianos that are just around. You don't
Right.
see them in bands. You don't see people playing them the right way when
Music
they're in
education
bands.
funding is being cut.
And the first things to go, just the other day I read about Griffith cutting more teachers, like 15 teachers, and they're cutting into the arts programs. Again, they're cutting some art and music curriculum because of, and I quote, just like they used to say when I was still in high school, and I graduated in 2001, okay, they're citing low student enrollment and no student interest in these things,
I wonder why that is.
It's part the administration's problem because they don't it's all money. It all boils down to money because they think it's not
And they
about
wanna
money.
Just have their budget for their athletics program.
It's always the damn sports.
Right.
Every time. That's what
Every
take. It's
fucking
every
time.
time they say, "Well, we can give the money here because we'll get the money back." But they're not going to invest the money in the things that are actually going to make human beings out of people.
Yeah.
God damn it, that's so good.
That's what it's for. I mean, music, that's what it's for. So that's what I meant by you have to give people a reason to come out of their house. You have to give them a reason to leave.
Yeah.
What better reason than connecting with something? Because that's the point of music. You connect to yourself, you connect to other people because they connect to the same thing. Blah, la, 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 la. It's like this whole circuit board of connections, warm and fuzzy, right? You can sing death metal or you can sing in a choir, and it's the same if you're going to that place.
I love all of what you just said. I love
Well, you're welcome.
That's slow clap.
I would
slow clap.
Clap that.
I would
This is
tattoo
how I-
that on my chest, that whole thing.
Well, that's not why I say it. This is
No,
I mean, this is how I teach about things too.
That's
Because
so
like kids, they don't know any different. These
Yeah.
kids, and it's really bad around here. Especially has been, I have been dabbling in the symphony. When the Star Plaza went down, it was bad. There's nowhere
There's
for
no
the symphony to
venues,
play.
Acceptable venues.
Yeah,
around
I mean,
Like
we
an
have
international
some of the big
symphony.
churches are nice, but they're not concert halls. They
Right.
don't hold 5,000 people, you know,
Right.
like the Star Plaza did.
So the arts are just struggling all over.
They really
this
are.
area, you know?
It's really bad around here, at least when you get down to it. So why do kids have motivation to be in bands? That's why you don't see them.
Yeah.
What point
Yep.
do they have? They sit at home on their computer and they can make music. It does it for them.
Yeah.
Right.
They don't have to learn how to play it anymore. All of these little, you see them on Facebook. Oh, look at this new instrument. Buh, 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 buh. Just hit colors and it will make music for you. And it's all like pentatonic scales that all fit each other. If you want to know what a pentatonic scale is, go play all the black keys on the piano. They'll all match each other. You'll never have a wrong note. Only play the black keys. Like, that's what it's like. Having no idea what anything is. It just, it drives me insane.
It's crazy that there
Music
can be
teacher
a little
problems.
plastic box with a bunch of colorful lights on it, and I mean, it makes music for you, and it sounds good. Like, it's nuts.
Right. So what motivation does that kid have to go and take a guitar lesson or to take a piano
There's
lesson
not
or a
guitar-
drum
there probably
lesson?
is a guitar that does that
Or
nowadays,
to, oh my
actually.
God, to play a flute or a
When I-
cello or something. What
Right. And
what
when I think-
motivation is
when
there?
I think about our motivation, it's because of what we're getting out of it when we're on stage, that feeling of happiness and elation and joy of being able to share what we're creating for people with those people that already love it.
yeah,
Yeah.
you create it live. You don't
Right.
let things
That's
do
so
it
important.
for you.
Live performances, like going out and supporting local
Yeah.
musicians, you know, that's
Yeah.
really important because that gives people reason to leave their house. It gives people reason
True.
to go and try to do new things, like create a
Mm-hmm.
punk band with pianos, you know?
Yeah, whatever.
So
Anyways.
back around to your live show now, since you brought it up again. How long do you guys? What's a set for you guys?
You want to
35 to 55 minutes if we're
Okay.
feeling it. And then it really depends, man. We've played shows where we've got like 1 encore song, 2 encore songs, 3 encore songs, but that's still only like 6 additional minutes.
Yeah.
So
Right.
it,
Yeah.
it doesn't really
Sounds so
affect-
short.
It seems like it's a lot, but like, so we maybe push an hour at the max, you
Okay.
know. But
And we
it's
do
all
include a lot of, like, we've been playing more Danzig songs at our shows, so those songs
Yeah, those
typically
are-
are longer than Misfits songs.
True.
Okay.
So if we want to,
Oh, when you say just Danzig solo.
yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, it fits really nicely into the Misfits sets. Believe it
Yeah.
or not, it's almost it's like you got to have some slow songs in there.
Yeah.
And like the
Yeah.
Misfits are just like ba 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 ba. Even the slow ones are just like a ba 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 ba. You know, they're just
Yeah.
they're all hyper.
And we
you know?
curate our sets with that in mind.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was going to be my next
We
question. is
really-
how do you guys pick what you're playing that night, and how far in advance do you plan a set? And
It depends on if we
Depends on
rehearse or
to,
not.
like,
Yeah.
it could be the day before. Like when we went to
Yeah.
Columbus and Dayton, we decided the night before our trip. Like,
Okay.
what are we playing?
because
Okay.
I've seen some of your set lists that you guys have printed. They're really nicely printed set lists.
Well,
they
that's
they
all
look
Nate.
great.
Nate's a little OCD about
just
the set
me.
list.
It's just me.
That's
I do
mean-
that with set
Oh,
lists,
yeah,
though. Like,
again,
I'll
it's
make
Nate-
it look
Nate
really
with
nice
the
and print it out.
organization.
Like,
Yeah,
here's
totally.
the fucking set list and shit. I do
Yeah.
that. That's the only thing I've ever organized well in my life is how
We're
a set list works.
grown-ups.
Yeah.
I just
so-
have a template, you know? And
Yeah.
once you have the template built, you just plug and
copy
play
and
whatever
paste.
you fucking want. And I make sure, I will say that on the sets, I thought it was important, regardless of what songs are on there, to always put the date of the show, what city it was
Yep.
in, who we played with, because I
Memories.
want to remember.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Cool.
so there's a set we have somewhere. It's all the way back in the very beginning, but it's got Get By and Belladonna and whoever else.
Yeah,
the
we
fuck
still
played
have
that
all of
show.
that
There were like
stuff.
10 of us. Like, it was
That's awesome.
crazy.
I don't remember who else played that show.
The Ataris.
The Ataris.
Ataris,
That was
yeah.
about it. I don't
Yeah.
remember.
This isn't to slight anybody that was on that
was a
show.
long time
I
ago.
don't remember.
Wasn't there a lot of bands that were like telling you something to do on that show?
that was common for the first
Yeah.
year we were playing.
It was weird.
People don't tell me what to do as much anymore.
Not no more.
Sick.
Not no more. We paid
I
our
mean,
dues
it-
in that department.
It does happen
We
occasionally,
fielded the
but
haters and the bad sound guys and the drunk assholes, and
Yeah.
we just dealt with it because we had to.
Yeah.
You know.
I
'Cause
feel
that's
like
what's out
sound
there.
guys hate me more than I have an opinion towards sound guys. It's like, hey, you're super loud. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
You're gonna fix it? No.
yeah.
It's just what I do. I'm a
That's just
loud
me.
prick.
So in that, you said you guys have a catalog of 54, 54
Yeah.
Misfits with Danzig, and
Plus
how many
Danzig, yeah.
solo Danzigs?
4 as of right now.
So a total of 58 songs that you can pick from. How
Yeah.
many of them get on a set list in a night?
Like between 15 and 17, plus a
And-
couple extra Danzigs.
Yeah, and usually we have a 1 to 2 encore songs.
How often do
These
you guys
days.
have to rehearse this stuff to keep it fresh?
We don't get to do it as much as we want to or used to be able to. You
Yeah.
know, we all have jobs. I have
Yeah.
several jobs and a child, and
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
like the band stuff, we want it to be our priority because that's, you know, what makes us happy and
Yeah.
what we're doing. This is what we're doing right now. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, it's just a lot of it has to take sit on the back burner.
Yeah.
So when we do get to practice, it's always fun, and it's like riding a bike, you know? We've
Mm-hmm.
been doing this long enough to where we just are keeping it fresh at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's some of them that are, you know, that we don't play often that we'll need to rehearse, like,
Turn it up a little.
yeah.
Blood
some-
Feast is a great example.
Blood
Yeah.
Feast?
Oh yeah,
That sounds like a Steven Seagal movie.
It should be.
No.
it's like a very moody, different Misfits song, but it
What album is that on?
Earth AD. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
It's their slow jam.
it's a
Yeah,
slow
it is.
jam that's real heavy,
their love
and
song.
it's got like really weird textured drums, lots of toms and whatnot. But I love playing it. They don't get down on it as much, so
It's
it doesn't
long.
really hit the sets a lot.
I like
Yeah.
that
how
one.
long is long?
like 5 minutes.
Oh, really? That
That's,
long?
that's like 3
No,
minutes.
wait.
gonna say
No,
3 minutes. Comeback is like 5
minutes.
minutes.
I love playing Comeback. That's
Yeah.
the
Comeback
Misfits'
is a long
longest
one, yeah.
song, and it's my favorite.
5 minutes. That is a long.
That's a
Misfits song.
special set.
Yeah.
What
when
is
we
your
put
guys'
that on there.
absolute favorite Misfits song?
I was actually just that was going to be my next question. So.
I don't even know
Like
if
what
I
our
can answer
favorite
that.
one to play is, or
Like,
just
if you could only, for some crazy fucked up hypothetical situation, you were like, you can only hear one Misfits song ever again. What would it be?
I'm gonna say Hybrid Moments. I love that one. It's not my favorite one to play live, but it's definitely my favorite, like one of my favorite Misfit songs. That and Comeback.
Let's get that weird, like, out of scale chord in that song. And I love the way it hits.
It's a good one. It's a great one.
I don't know what to say to that. I don't know how to answer that.
I know. I got
Just depends
mine.
on the day.
Go ahead.
You know?
Yeah.
True.
Teenagers from Mars. It's a banger. It's just
I love
it
that one,
has
too.
that jam that there's the bass line in it that just grooves. It's a song that is one of my Everest songs, one of the hardest songs for me to drum, just because it's nonstop, lots of tom fills consistently throughout the whole fucking 2.5 minutes, and it's a long one, so you gotta, once you're on the train, you gotta let it roll, you know, and that's just one that if I was stuck and only able to hear one song, I'm going back to Teenagers from Mars.
Right on.
Man, this is hard to answer. On any given day, it could be Vampira. It could be either Earth AD or Green Hell. On it.
Cool.
Those ones are
flipping
really
around.
fun to play
Those ones are
live.
really fun.
Everybody likes those because they can kind of jam to them.
Yeah, I have so many that I like. I like Return of the Fly quite a bit. Ooh, I like playing Spinal Remains.
That one's
That
really
one's got
fun.
like, yeah, that
packs a
one's really
punch.
fun. Man, it's hard to answer that. Those are the ones I have right now.
That's fair enough.
I get a lot of shit for this from a lot of people, but Famous Monsters is my favorite Misfits album, and I don't give a fuck.
That's okay. You're allowed to like whatever you want.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You know, people are like, oh,
I get a
people
lot.
like the Misfits. I'm like, yes, I fucking do. I like all of it, but I really like that album.
Yeah.
I get a lot of shit for this. I don't know a lot of Misfits.
That's way worse than what I said.
So, I admittedly, so here's what happened with me and the Misfits, right? I'm in high school. I'd never even heard of the Misfits. Up to that point, I was listening to
Right.
B96, which is the local rap station for anybody that's not from around here.
B96.
No. Up until high school, I was on B96. I started getting into Slipknot. I started getting into Slipknot in like '99, and that was my first introduction to like metal, you know. And then I get into high school, and I didn't. I was a new metal kid with the Slipknot and the System of a Down and Mudvayne and stuff. So I was not a punk kid,
Yeah.
because back then those were two separate elements, new metal and punk, and it was like
Very
water and oil,
different.
they didn't mix. And I just remember there were two guys in the school that were always wearing Misfits stuff, like they wore the leather and the spikes and everything, and those dudes were always dicks to me. So I was just like,
Yeah.
They soured
what?
it for
you.
Just fuck the Misfits, and I was never on
In
that
their
train.
defense, you were really into new metal.
Yeah, I know.
So
I was a
get-
douchebag.
Right.
I was a total douchebag in high school. I know it. So they were mean to me for a good reason. But so that soured me on Misfits, and it wasn't until just literally like 5 years ago when me and Larry started playing in a punk band that I actually started getting into punk, and now I have a new appreciation for it. But it's like so long ago. I'm trying to work my way back into the old school punk stuff, and I haven't quite gotten to Misfits yet.
Trauma to heal from.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I'm getting there though. I've come around to them a lot. Everything I've listened to recently, I enjoy. So I feel like that's something I just one day I need to just dive into Misfits and maybe just. You guys actually were a big inspiration for me to start listening to the Misfits because I didn't know any until I saw you guys.
We hear that a lot, actually.
Yeah.
We hear that from a lot of people.
That's cool.
Yeah, we do
If you
hear
could
that a
like
lot.
pick another like punk rock band to do a piano tribute-ish thing to, who do you think would translate well?
Well, I mean, easily the Ramones.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Ramones.
That's such a good answer.
Yeah,
super
very
easy.
easily. We've played a few Ramones songs for fun
Yeah,
while
for
we've been
fun.
jamming, but yeah, that one would be okay. I want to say my two favorite bands that we're gonna see next week, TSOL and The Damned. Either one of those. They have keyboard players though.
Oh yeah.
That's why I always like those two bands. Those are two of my favorite bands, and I get to see them next week. Well, actually, when this airs, I'll have already seen them. But
It was really cool.
It was cool, guys. Everything was awesome.
Except for that one song, man, that sucked.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's okay. We're.
I was gonna
Yeah, I was gonna
say
say we're getting close to the end of this one.
quickly. Bad Religion.
I was
Religion.
going to
Oh,
say,
yeah, that too.
A Bad Religion piano tribute. Like Bad Religion musically is like one of the most musical punk bands.
Yes.
Like
Yeah, that would
harmonious
be
and-
good. That would work. That would work nicely.
Love that. I love Bad Religion so fucking much.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're a good band. They're a solid band. They're good live too. They're really good.
So when you guys first started, I guess I don't know why I saved this for last. I meant to ask this like a half hour ago.
It's okay.
When you guys first started, there was a bassist, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Now, how did that evolve, and what has happened since? Like,
Well, I don't have much time, but I will say this. Initially, musically, I thought that the band was going to need the weight of the bass.
Okay.
And then, he had a lot of stuff going on to take care of at home,
Sure.
full-time job and things.
Sure.
It got really
He has a
hard. We wanted
family.
to gig a lot.
Yeah.
And the gig schedule got a little bit too much. So, but musically speaking, it ended up working for the better. I didn't know that anybody was going to listen to two women and Nate play Misfits songs in a bar and get into it. I mean, I had no idea that anybody was going to sit and listen to me play the piano in a bar just because of the way the landscape is these days. So I thought that we needed the bass and the weight and the fuzziness of the other keys to compensate for the uncool factor, the dorky piano factor. Like I had this fear that because whenever it rides a fine line, man, those piano arrangements, and I know I've been teaching and I've been studying a long time. There's a fine line of cheese there.
Yeah.
And you don't want to cross into the bad side of the bad cheese. You want the good cheese. So,
triple
or
cream
no
brie.
cheese at all.
Oh,
yeah, you want that.
You don't want that
the
Clancy's
gourmet.
Velveeta ripoff.
No, you need that. We need the gourmet here. But it ended up being good because once we didn't have bass, well, I thought, okay, well, we can either have V try to learn how to play a bass, or we can just say,
Which I did.
I was going to say you
F
have
it.
previously, haven't you?
I do
Yeah.
have a bass. They bought me one for Christmas.
yeah. Oh, spoilers.
Her name's Cassandra.
Spoilers.
But
But yeah, we didn't end up.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I was just dreaming about
I'm
Cassandra.
trying to rush through what I'm saying. But we didn't end up needing to have a bass because
Yeah,
it
the
was.
bass thing
Left
worked
hand.
out.
Frequency
Stripped
wise
down.
too, they started to compete, and sometimes
And
it was
sound
hard.
guys wanted that heavy, they would
so they'd
thud it
jack
and they
up
would
and you'd lose
just
We
get
could never hear
buried.
the pianos
and-
in the monitor. We
Yeah.
could only ever hear bass and drums. And
Yeah,
this way it
and-
just works out easier.
Yeah.
It's stripped down. It's
Yeah.
showcasing the piano and her talent and what we can do. And
But
I started to
honestly,
feel silly.
I don't think that we would have had the confidence to continue on after Rob left if we wouldn't have actually been strangely blessed with playing a couple shows earlier the previous year. Like in 2017, we did 2 or 3 shows he couldn't make, and he's like, "Don't cancel the show, just do it. You guys
go."
trust me." So we played the shows as a 3-piece, and we were like,
Oh, this
wow,
works
we can
out.
do
Okay.
this. Like, we
Yeah.
can totally do
It's all
this.
right,
It's
we'll be
cool.
all right.
Yeah.
And every time we played one of those shows, we're like, we're never fucking cramming in this fucking truck again.
And then we do it anyways.
And then
Yeah.
we do it every
Show
fucking
now.
show.
We
Yeah.
cram in, man.
I'm gonna buy y'all a van.
That'd be great.
That'd be wonderful.
We'll take one.
That's on the record too, so you know y'all can hold me to that shit. It might be like a really long time.
Or you'll win the lottery tomorrow. Who knows?
Yeah.
Well,
No,
As the universe wills it.
y'all will each get your own personal ass van if you
I-
win the lottery.
I know Sarah's got to get dip in here.
Yeah, I gotta work.
And we're actually getting close to the time limit. Well, not time limit, but we're full. We got
Covered a
full
lot of
hour.
ground
Yeah,
today.
we did.
You good.
Yeah.
God, now I'm stuttering. Wait till the end of this. But anyway,
Standard shit.
And we can come back for part 2 sometime.
you guys,
Cool.
you guys
If you want,
have
yeah.
a very cool thing going.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You guys, like I said, you are so driven and you work hard, and it's impressive. Just being in bands previously and knowing what it's like to have these gigs constantly, and actually not knowing, trying to get gigs constantly, but it never works out. Seeing how often you guys play out and how dedicated you are, and even like your weekly, Casual Fiend Fridays that you guys do.
Yeah.
If you guys haven't checked it out, every Friday they release just a video of just Sarah and V playing a song on the piano and singing along, and it's always cool.
And we're almost done. We've
You've
done
almost worked your way through the
the
catalog.
whole catalog. We've been doing for over a year now, every Friday a new song,
and
a new one.
And it's just,
That's
like I
so
said, it's
cool.
just them sitting at
They're
a
super fun to
piano
watch.
singing, and it's awesome. And just the way you guys connect with your audience, and
Cool.
you keep it so fresh, and it's awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My hat's off to you again. You
Thanks.
guys are so hardworking, and everything you guys have gotten, you deserve more.
Shucks.
So,
Aw, gee.
you guys want to go ahead and plug all your social media?
I want to real
there's-
quick.
there's
The
the
train.
Oh, the
of our
train had
existence.
to come
God
along.
damn.
Train
I
of
hope
our
it doesn't
existence will
stop.
show
I
up
actually get
always.
to sit in and hear it now.
It's real. It's real. It's really there too. That's why I'm always like, why the fuck are you doing that right now? But I wanted to mention while we're on your show, you guys have a large fan base of people in the Valparaiso area, and I want to let you guys know we're playing Franklin House June 7th.
You got a Franklin show?
Yeah.
Awesome,
right.
man!
June
Oh, Franklin's
7th.
gonna treat you guys so good.
Good. I hope people come out. Come out.
It's you guys are gonna love it there. The audience there is always cool. They're
Wonderful.
always receptive and they're always fun.
Excellent.
And Eric, the guy, did you get booked through Eric?
Yes, totally.
Eric's
Been working with
the
Eric.
coolest motherfucker.
Wonderful.
In the
I
world. Shout out
adore
to Eric.
It's on record.
Yes.
We shout out Eric on every
I know.
episode of this
'Cause
show
he's awesome.
because Franklin House is the only place that my band plays.
But yeah, go. So June 7th.
Yeah. So,
Check out Walk Among Us at Franklin House. Who are you guys playing with?
the Eradicator, Dissonant and Dissent, and MG Bailey.
MG Bailey
fucking
rips,
rules.
man. One man
He's like this
act,
one
and
dude
he's
with like a guitar,
awesome.
like a kick drum, and he plays like NoFX covers and shit.
Well,
It's
you should
Oh,
probably
that'll
come to the
fit in
show.
well.
Yeah. But yeah,
Sweet.
go ahead and you plug all your social media. Let's get it out there.
Facebook.com/Walk Among Us Band, Instagram.com/Walk Among Us Band. You guys can just search Walk Among Us Band or Punk Rock Piano. You'll find us. The Piano Teeth Misfits logo. It's us. Easy to find.
Awesome logo, by the way.
Thanks.
all
I
right.
drew it on my couch with a pen.
That's so cool. All right, well, thank you guys for doing this, and Nate, thank you for having your kitchen here for us to host
Hey,
this. Since
thank
my
you guys for coming up. It
Thanks for
made today a
coming.
lot
Yeah, thank
easier.
you.
we absolutely have
sure.
to do this again because this flew by, and I have so much more that we need to dig into. So
Sure, please.
Yeah, we'll do
we'll
a part
do
2. Yeah.
we'll do this again, and
schedule it.
as always, listen to everything else on Journey into Comics Network, journeyintocomics.com. Nate, you want to plug anything?
You can get it on iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher Radio, Google Play Music, Spotify, CastBox, TuneIn, and many others. Just search Journey into Comics Network and subscribe. You'll get all the different shows on our network, or go to patreon.com/Journey into Comics. Give us $1 for early access and exclusive content. Chris, thanks for having us on Crucial Tunes.
Oh, well, thank you guys
Yeah,
for
thank
you
you.
for doing this.
Thanks,
Thank you.
guys.
No, thank you. No, thank
No,
you.
thank you.
No, thank you. No.
Thank everybody.
Wee.
All right.
Yeah.